What's up, guys? It's Will back once again. We're here for just a live fight day chat. The fight's in about, 4 or 5 hours. I've got no kids. I've got a free house. I'm watching fights in the middle of the afternoon. So I thought we'd jump on here, give you a stream, because I have not managed to get a video out this week, for UFC Columbus, because I've been snowed under with work, with family stuff. So I've just not had the time to get a predictions video out. So I thought, I've got the free time. I'd love to jump on here. I'm watching some fights. UE Warriors 28 is on right now, and we've got a fight between Dakota Ditcheva against Paula Betancourt, and it looks like Ditcheva's about to get a win there. That's someone you should really keep an eye on coming into the UFC in the next probably 18 months to 2 years. It's Dakota Ditcheva coming out of the UK here, but she looks like she's going to get the win. But I'm literally just here to kind of talk about UFC Columbus, give you my picks, because like I say, I've not got my video out. I'll talk about what bets I have, some spots I like, Draftkings, whatever it is. I'm just here because I've got a free house, no kids, and I want to just talk some fights. And yeah, so like I say, I might as well start with giving you my predictions here. Let me put this down in one of the banners here. I'll run this across the bottom. Oh, that's not it there. I need to tickle that bad boy. Hide that. Show that. So there are my picks there. I must have forgot to put the ticker on. There we go. But that is my picks there, who I am going with for this card here. Let me just bring that up here. Let me put that in a ticker. There we go. Save. Show that. There we go. So that is my picks. Going across the bottom there, who I am going with for tonight's card. And I'll kind of talk a little bit through the card here. I'll go and put Wikipedia up and just kind of chat through. Just trying to keep an eye on these fights, because it's a really close fight between Ditcheva and Betancourt here. Looks like Ditcheva's got the edge here. UFC Columbus. Blades v Dawkins. Yeah, so like I say, I apologise for not getting any predictions out. Wasn't my intention, but like I say, with work and family stuff, I just never found the time. So as you can kind of see across the bottom there, we'll start off with Luis Saldana against Bruno Silva. Not a fight I've really watched a hell of a lot of tape on either guy. I remember Saldana just being coming out very, very hard, very quick, kind of going for it in the kind of opening 5 to 7 minutes, and then him really gassing out badly, where you've got Silva, who's just like got that typical karate kind of background, who sits back, kind of pot shots a little bit, doesn't throw high volume. So I kind of went from what I've seen a little bit more of, and that was Saldana. And I think that was, I think if he can maybe pace himself, and the fact that Silva doesn't throw with a heavy output maybe helps him with his gas tank later on in the fight. So I picked Saldana for that one there. But like I say, no real kind of confidence in the fight. Matthias Nicolas, he's actually one of the bets I have for tonight. So I've got another ticker here where I can put that across the bottom of the screen with my bets for tonight. And I will get that out there. That I bet Nicolau, and I bet him, I want to say a couple of weeks back, where I know a couple of weeks ago, probably about 7 to 10 days ago, right before the UFC London event. And I thought plus 110, he's going to move into like a favorite kind of category for me. And then he went up to plus 138, I think is the highest I saw him. So that kind of sucked a little bit. But he's now sitting around about that plus 110 mark. I'm seeing people bet Devorah at minus 125. I'm a big fan of Matthias Nicolau, of his overall game. The only thing I'm aware of is just that chin. But he has been there with some big hitters, your Manil Caps, and took some good shots, even though I think Cap kind of let that fight slip away from him a little bit. I just like the all-around game. I think he's got low kicks, which can really kind of come to the fore in this fight here. Oh, these girls are throwing heavy. But overall, I just like Nicolau. I think he's got the jiu-jitsu advantage if he can get the grappling to the ground. On the feet, I think he needs to show a little bit more with his hands. If he can show more with his hands and really keep himself in the fight, then that would be a big thing for him. But I like him at plus money. It was, as soon as I seen plus money beside his name, I was kind of on him in this spot here. And I just like him. That Devorah to me is a very clinical striker, very good coming out of the Czech Republic. Knew about this guy before he went to the UFC, and since he's come in there, he's looked fantastic. But this is definitely a step up from what he has faced before. and I just like Nicolas kind of in that spot there. Manon Fiorot, I like her to beat Jennifer Maia, even though I'm playing a little bit of Jennifer Maia on DraftKings tonight. She's going to be a kind of punt that I've got a little bit there. I've seen some things on Twitter with her maybe injuring her leg or whatever, but just she looked a little bit unsteady after a kind of weight cut or whatever. So I like Fiorot. I think she's got a lot to like about Fiorot. Like you've seen in the UFC already, she's very aggressive. Uses all limbs, long, throws just vicious, puts you against the cage. She's shown that she can get takedowns. I just like her in this fight here, and I think she'll fly through this. Shizarev against Tuloinen, I think his name is. Just going to see what this decision is here. Shizarev's, I bet Alihab Shizarev, I think it was back on Monday, and he was minus 350. I put him in like a 6-team parlay, just a kind of degenerate one that I'm not tracking. Dakota Ditchkova won that fight. Big win. She moves to 5-0 now. And I watched Tuloinen yesterday actually, and he's just super aggressive. I mean, he comes forward, puts himself at risk all the time. And I just think that Ali Saab is just going to get him down, grind him out, just be pretty heavy on top, could get a submission. Also think he's got heavy hands. He can knock out Tuloinen, and he can take a shot as well, to be fair. But I just like the overall there. I think I've seen him at minus 1,000, so it literally went completely the other way. I've got a bet with Shizarev inside the distance, and Diakiese Borshev starts round 2. I think it's minus plus 117 that parlay came to. So that's one of my plays for today. I think that he gets that. I think he gets the fight done inside the distance. I'm pretty confident that happens there as well. Dinar Batgarel, I was very close actually last week to betting Chris Gutierrez when I was watching some fights in these two last Sunday. And I saw the plus 130 on Gutierrez's name, and I still think he's not a bad dog to bet here, but I think the power of Batgarel is going to really kind of keep the flow of Gutierrez back a little bit. I think he's going to be a little bit hesitant to throw his strikes. Now, we all know he's not super hard hitting with his hands, but with his kicks, the guy is devastating. And like he can really rip you to bits with those shots that he throws on with his low kicks. So, like I said, I don't think it's a bad bet. I kind of backed out of betting Gutierrez probably Wednesday of this week. And I actually kind of changed my tune. I think Batgarel, I think that power is going to stay prevalent kind of throughout the fight there, and I think he's going to edge out a close decision. But like I say, I'm kind of glad that I'm sitting back off that one and not going near it. Carl Hosa against Sarah McMahon. Sarah McMahon, I'm playing pretty heavy on DraftKings tonight. I think I've got about 7 lineups, and she's in 5 of them. I like her number. I think she's 73. She wrestles. She usually wins rounds. So if I can get 30 or 40 points out of her, and her probably doing what she does is just like absolutely flame out as per usual and lose, or kind of quits on herself a little bit, I'll kind of take that. But I am playing a lot of Sarah McMahon. Carol Hosa, I was thinking about also parlaying her earlier in the week, but I thought I just want to stay back. Sarah McMahon, to me, she kind of scares me because if she turns up and she can get that wrestling going and not take heavy shots and maybe not quitting herself, I mean, I think she's got a chance to come in here and kind of upset the apple cart a little bit. So I decided to kind of stay away from Carol Hosa on that one, even though I think it's a parlayable number, like she was minus 225. I like on that one, but I'm just a little bit scared off. I've got Neil Magny over Max Griffin, even though I think that line's a little bit high. I think Max Griffin's very confident at the minute. So I'm a little bit... I don't want to say taken aback by the number, because I would rather bet Neil Magny at like a plus number beside him. I think he's a very viable guy to bet when he's got dog odds beside him. And like I say, Max Griffin is definitely in the best part of his career right now. Looks very confident. This would be a big win against someone like Neil Magny, who is a guy who's beat some big names, fought some big names, always throws his name in the hat to fight those big names. I remember he wanted to fight Hamza and all that. So, yeah, I'm going to go Neil Magny. I think he wins the decision. Neil Magny's coming out in the James Lynch interview and saying that he really thinks he's going to come in here and stop Max Griffin. And I'm like, I don't see that. I don't really predominantly see him as much of a finisher. but I've got Neil Magny. This was one I was very close on all week. Mark Diakiese against Slava Borshev. I'm not a believer in this Slava Borshev, this Slava clause. Yeah, I'm a little bit skeptical. Yeah, I'm not high on him like a numerous amount of people are. Now I know John Mitchell's fighting. Oh, that's a good fighter coming out of Ireland there. I mean, Diakiese to me has been a little bit of a bust. I think that his confidence has been shot a little bit. I think that him going to American top team just wasn't a good thing after he won his fights in the UFC initially, that big knockout at Timo Pakalin. I think you stick where you feel confident. You don't have to go to these big American gyms. Of course, it's a whole new world when you go to those gyms out there. But I think it knocked his confidence. But when you look at the guys he's lost to, I mean, Mark Diakiese has not lost to bad fighters whatsoever. Your Dan Hookers of the world. Alves, I think he just got caught in that when he got caught with a big shot. And then obviously got submitted. Rafael Fiziev, I thought he fought a great third round in that fight there. So he's lost to good guys. Clark Close, tough. Dan Hooker, tough. Hak Parast, on his day, is very tough. Fiziev, he might be in the top 5 very, very soon if he's not already. And Alves is just he's a guy you kind of have to watch for. Very explosive and can take you out, be a knockout power or his jiu-jitsu, and that's kind of what happened. So his confidence has got to be pretty low, but I think I'd be surprised if he doesn't come out here and grapple. I think that's something that he can do. I don't think he can hold the guy down, but I think that he can get numerous takedowns, and I think he can be competitive on the feet. I think he has to be careful. I think if he can mix in his low kicks, which he's very good at, then I think this is a winnable fight. Again, he was plus 160 earlier on the week. And I was kind of thought, maybe Borshev, but the more I watch, I'm just not really sold on Slava Claus yet. So Diakiese is going to be my pick in that one. I'm playing a little bit of him in Draftkings tonight. Who else have we got? Latifi. I've got Latifi over Olenek. Olenek's he's awkward to fight. I mean, but I'd be kind of surprised if he comes out here and beats Latifi. I don't like Latifi at heavyweight, but the guy's like a fire hydrant. Like, I watched him at the weigh-ins yesterday. I don't think he looked in as good a shape as he has done in previous heavyweight fights. But this is one of these fights here. Would it surprise me if Olenek came and caught a submission of some sort? No. Would it surprise me if Latifi comes out and maybe knocks him out in the first round? No. I've seen a lot of people kind of had a big take earlier on the week with Ilir Latifi, like betting like minus 163, and I thought, had a look into it, just didn't really like it, so I left it to it. But I picked him to win this fight. Askarov against Kai Kara-France. Now, this is one I made a bet earlier on in the week. A parlay. It's my first bet of the week, and it was Alexa Grasso and Askarov. And this is one throughout the week that I've kind of had a feeling that Kai Kara-France might be a little bit more live than I initially thought. And I can't remember the line that I bet Askarov out. It was maybe minus 275. I see this being close, but I just see the pivotal moments of this fight going to Askarov. I think he can do a little bit more in certain areas. And if he doesn't get pieced up in the feet and mixes in his grappling and gets some top time and lands some shots himself, then I think he could win this pretty comprehensively. But I just don't see. I think Kai Kara-France is going to have spots in this fight where he will land some shots, maybe push Askarov back where he has to use that wrestling, and whether he gets it or not is another thing. So I like Askarov earlier on the week. Not so much. The confidence is not as high as what it was on Monday when I made that bet with Grasso and Askarov. But ultimately, I'm going to stick with the pick there. And he'll move himself on to maybe get himself a championship fight after the fourth fight between Moreno and Figueiredo. I've picked Brian Barberena. This is like I say, the betting lines I pick him minus 110 apiece. And I just don't trust the durability of kind of Matt Brown. I think he can be knocked out. I think he can be. I say this every video with Matt Brown. I think his body is deteriorated to a point where if you can land something clean, you can absolutely put him out. But Brian Barberena has not looked the same since that Luque fight. He's had surgeries. He's been beaten by guys and dropped by guys that you would never have thought before, and especially like Jason Witt. But I suppose that's a sport. Some things like that can happen where a clean shot lands, you go down. So, like I said, I'm going to have no action on it. On DraftKings, I'm going a little bit both sides. Barberina's going to be the official pick. If I maybe got a plus 110 or plus 100, it might tickle my fancy a little bit. But the fact it's kind of really stayed at minus 110 all week, I've just kind of stayed away. Oh, guillotine. Oh, what a guillotine. Matthias Mazar. John Mitchell should jump right into that. Big win for Mazar. So yeah, I like Barberina to win that one there. Alexa Grasso against Jojo Wood. To me, I kind of feel that Jojo's kind of checked out. I think she's talking about she wants to start making a family. I think she's very, very settled in Las Vegas, obviously married to John Wood. I just don't think our fire's there, but this could be a fight that could really intensify a kind of fire within herself, because predominantly this is going to be a stand-up fight. You've got the boxing against the Muay Thai of Jojo. She's very susceptible to being hit. I actually think she's susceptible to being knocked out. I think Grasso's got the type of technique that if she hits her clean, she can maybe really hurt Joanne Wood here. And like I say, you guys know me, I'm a big Joanne Calderwood fan. I have been for many, many years. It's someone that I've been cheering on, and I kind of know from back down my way from where I stay. And I just think that this is not, like I said, when I bet Grasso, she was minus 188. Now she's like minus 250. I see in some books over here. I think that's high. So if you like yourself a maybe live dog, Jojo in a striking-based fight could ultimately be that person here that you could throw some money on if you've got some money lying about. And then the main event, I've got Curtis Blades. I think this is too much for Chris Dawkins. He's got the knockout potential, but I played Curtis Blades inside the distance this afternoon at minus 125 on one of the books here in the UK. So I think that's my biggest bet of the night is Curtis Blades inside the distance. So that's my quick picks there for UFC Columbus, guys. I'm kind of going to go into the chat. I can see some comments there. Just want to say hello. Like I say, I'm literally watching some fights and talking about some fights. I've got a free house, so I'm seeing what's going on here and just call me Touch. Let's go. What's up? Jack Attack. Big Willie, what's happening? Will the Shill Martin. Respectfully, Will, I never like when a fighter loses. Fighter losses a compliment their record. Diakese still lost. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, I get you. Like I say, it's a tough fight for me. I'm just not sold on Borshev at all. I think Diakese is a better fighter than what he has shown in his UFC tenure. Honestly, I think he's been pushed a little bit too quick. I think he's maybe took matchups that he maybe shouldn't have. He's went to places he shouldn't have. And I do think he can wrestle. I think he can wrestle a little bit here. I would like to see Borshev into the middle part of the first round, into the second, and then into the third round. I think that Diakese can maybe wear him a little bit. And I do think he can strike with Borshev. I just don't think he can do it for long parts without getting caught clean. So, like I say, that's one I was going back and forth on, but I'm just not really sold on Borshev. So last time I ride in a bit to wrestle, Grundy broke my heart yet. And he kind of jumped into that guillotine, didn't he? It wasn't great. It wasn't a guillotine, was it? Head and arm choke. So, or an anaconda. It was one of them, I can't remember. It seems like ages ago, that London card last week. So, reminds me of people picking Hooker to beat Allen based on his losses against good opposition. That's true. I just think those wins or those losses against better opposition, they actually mean something. Like when people bring that up, I think it kind of means you've been in there with a higher caliber. Borshev, to me, I don't know what it is. I don't feel this guy is going to be a big factor in the UFC, but yeah, we will see. He could come out here and knock the guy out in the first round, and sometimes I'm slow to like seeing how really good fighters are. So Latifi is pulling the Usman 30% because he knows he needs to beat Olenek. That's true. I legitimately think the only way Grasso can lose if the judges don't go with the actual scoring criteria and rob Grasso. Volume should be close enough either way, and Jojo hits like a 12-year-old. I'm a big fan of Alexa Grasso. Actually, I think I like her up at 125. I didn't like her cutting that weight down to 115 and just ultimately kind of depleting yourself. And like I said, I think Jojo's kind of just her head's out the door. Like I said, I'm happy for her that she's kind of settled down in life, got herself a good guy, a good good stable head coach in a good gym in a good place. But there's talks I want to start a family, and I just think this is a good spot actually for Grasso. I guess Mark 1 is just a first round Anaconda guy. Yeah, it's true. I'm off Olenek. Were you ever on Olenek? Only way he wins if Latifi chooses his standoff fight. He could definitely just get takedowns and lay on top and stay out of danger. True, like I say, it's not a fight I really looked into all that much. Honestly, when I seen that I wasn't going to bet that fight, I just kind of went past. 100% agree on Jojo. I think she takes the L and dips here. Would not surprise me. Two Scottish guys fading Jojo. You should be ashamed of yourselves. Funnily enough, like I say, I never pick Paul Craig fights. That fucking guy is. Paul Craig is something else. Like he just wants to be on the ground, and he just waits for the fucking littlest mistake that you make, and he makes you regret that decision from going to the ground from instantly. When that fight went to the ground, I'm like, Krylov, just don't be a stupid bitch and just get back to your feet and just strike with this guy. Don't initiate on the ground, because eventually he will catch you with something, and he did. And I was so annoyed that I didn't bet that fight last week. Like really, really annoyed, because I think it was plus 160, plus 170 I seen, and I just had that feeling. I never have that feeling with Paul Craig fights. I usually think he's going to get knocked out or something will happen. He'll just lose the fight. So truth hurts, Daniel. I'm English. Will always takes Krylov, but he knew the score last week. I didn't, like I say, I just mentioned it. I did not bet him. Had I am brew for good luck. Martin's a cool dude. That's fun. Oh, I appreciate that. Daniel saying Blades Dawkins under 3.5, Krasayev Tulian under 2.5. I think that hits. I think it's a solid parlay. I like that one a lot, actually. I think if Slava faces a slimy type of grappler, he could have a rough time, but I just don't see it. Diakese is like I say, Diakese to me, I remember when he first came into the UFC, I think he fought in that Manchester card, and I remember meeting him, and he was so confident that he was like, I'm finally here, this is where I should be, and ultimately he fought a good fight against Sajewski and that, but since that knockout of Pakalin, like his head kind of left England, which is not a bad thing, honestly. Like going to American top team and having some of the looks out there you're going to get is only going to benefit you in the long run. But he came home. I think he's opened his new gym. It's the HD Performance Gym in Doncaster. But I've seen that he's been down in London at GB Top Team with Brad Pickett. So, like I said, I'm just interested to see what his game plan is, because I think he can stand and bang with Slava. I think he needs to mix up and tire Borshev out. Like I say, Borshev has no striking defense, no wrestling or jiu-jitsu. He won't be getting the world's top 10. I don't believe he would either. Craig lets people get a few in to get their hopes up, and then gift wraps them and sends them packing. It's the craziest shit with that guy, honestly. His ground game is legit as fuck. Like, his ground game is dangerous to anybody in that light heavyweight division, because you literally make a minuscule mistake and you're tapping, or he's snapping your arm like he did to Jamal Hill. So, like you say, I'm pumped that he got the win, and I'm really happy that he kind of called, like, let's get the UFC back up to Glasgow, because that's something I think that the Glasgow cards that we've had up here, the UFC cards, have been amazing. Great atmospheres, loads of drink, just a good weekend in general. But like I say, the UFC, it looks like Dana White's saying that he's going to bring the UFC back to the UK. Paul Craig was going on about they've booked, I think it's Manchester and Liverpool as potential places where they could go. Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of going to London, so I would prefer, if they make a card in Manchester or Liverpool, I will 100% be there. But I would love it if they came back up here to the UK. I've always kind of thought this, because so Bellator have did like the European series where they've had European cards. I still think the UFC can do that. I think there's abundance of talent coming through that they can like put that in. Like last week could not have went any better for UFC London. I mean, literally, predominantly, nearly everyone that they wanted to win won that fight. So, I mean, last week was a big week for UK MMA in general. It just the person that really impressed me last week was Jack Shore. And you guys know, if you've been around long enough, I'm a fucking massive fan of Jack Shore. I was championing this guy in the amateur days. I remember watching this guy and thinking, he just looks different. Like when you watch a fight, you're like, oh, he's really good. Like really good. And I've backed him every way through the UFC, and then it got to this fight, and I thought he had a tough fight. And he did have a tough fight initially. But what he showed in that fight is the guy's got balls. Like, I mean, I thought he lost the first round. Comes out there, and then we saw some of the power that he's got when Valiev started to fade. A couple of brutal knockouts. I thought that fight was finished in that third round. So props to Valiev to really sticking in that fight. But Jack Shore showed that he's a really sound, solid guy. Will be a top 15 guy if he's probably not already. There was just so many things like Paddy Pimblett. I thought you need to give that guy the easiest, I don't want to say easiest matchups, because with every fight you should get progression of fighting tougher fights. But on the contract that he's on, if he's on this 12 and 12, like it's being mentioned, I mean, for your first contract, you take the piss easy matchups. If you're on that shitty contract. Absolutely. You're not going to stay there and fight. Geez, they're talking about fighting guys on 12 for 12 contract. It's not going to happen. Like I've seen people say he should be fighting Gregor Gillespie. There was one guy said this guy should be fighting Arman Sarukian. I'm like, oh, are you guys like watching the same fight I am? Because that does not make any fucking sense to me. But some people are shit making fights. But if I'm Paddy Pimblett, I don't know who you give him to next. I've not looked through the rankings. But for me, just take these next two fights. If they don't offer you a contract then after this one with a kind of higher wages, then fight these two fights out and then fight your worth. Let's see what you're all about and get your money. But like I say, it was just a great week last week for the British fighters in general. Aspinall, I think I'm sold on Aspinall now. I think that I bet Volkov. I was confident in Volkov, and he was never, ever, ever in that fight last week for that 4 minutes it lasted. And from the second that Aspinall shot that first takedown and got it with ease, I thought, oh, my money's down the shitter. Like it's not a good. That was not a good play, and it was a very bad play. And I had money on him straight, and I had money on him in rounds 4 or 5 in decision. I had a little loss, but overall for the weekend, I won because I had a max bet on Saladin Parnes fighting KSW. And if you don't know who that guy is, he will be in the UFC in the next couple of years. I think he's just signed a new contract with KSW. So we won't be seeing him as soon. But he's a very talented fighter. I think he's 17-1-1. 17-1-1 out there. Really solid fighter. Roberto Soldich is another guy that you should keep an eye out coming out of KSW. That guy's a beast. He was in London. He was talking to Hunter Campbell last week, and there was things floating about that, like he's got 3 fights. Like if he wins 3 fights in a row or something, that he will get a title shot. So that he's going to be paid pretty well. And I agree, Soldich would be a massive, massive addition to the UFC welterweight and middleweight roster. I've been a massive fan. The first time I seen this guy was Cage Warriors against Lou Long, and he knocked him out with a head kick, and my eyes just like opened up. I was like, who the fuck is this guy? And from there, kept an eye on him. He's had a loss or two. I think it's just the one actually to Duplessis, who's in the UFC, but he avenged that loss, and since then he's been beating guys, really solid guys there in KSW. Khalidov, he knocked out the GOAT, Polish GOAT Khalidov there. So, there's some guys out there I'm really looking forward to seeing in the UFC. Hopefully it happens in the near future. I'd love to go to a Glasgow card. Ticket prices are out of this world though. They're not bad. Like they were definitely cheaper back in the day. Let me get that out there. But the Glasgow ones, if I remember sitting cage side, and it was only 150, and I had a great view. I would happily pay that again. I just like the fact that there was a bit more room in the floor. and I like that. I like to go up and move around and go and get a beer or whatever else I have to. But like I say, they are putting the price. The London ones, I can't remember the prices on them, but they were. Was it 300 for cage side? I think it was, because I remember I was going to buy tickets and I was thinking about where I was going to sit. And I didn't really like sitting cage side for that one, because I remember the few times I have been to O2, I think I sat on the first deck looking down, and they were perfect seats for me. So yeah, Freddy171. You follow any other predictors? Cody Saftik from Dogger Pass podcast has fire parlays. Cody is a really good guy, and he knows the fight game like the back of his hand. I don't listen to as much nowadays. Having kids, working all the time, I just do not have the time. The ones that I do listen to, I listen to the Dogger Pass podcast with Paul and Cody every week. We'll never miss that. Half the Battle, I listen to that because I'm a big fan of Dan. Me and him got on very, very well. Met the guy in Vegas. We're just when you meet someone who just loves the sport throughout. I think he makes great stuff. I actually listened to his podcast this morning with Nick Kalikas. That was a really good one. Kalikas, a good guy to listen to. The rest of the ones I listened to, there was who else? Clint from the Die Hard MMA podcast. I just think he's just a massive fan of the sport. Like I say, there's no beating around the bush with that guy. He's a degenerate. He will bet every fight in the card, where a lot of other people kind of look at certain fights. I'm not like that. I can't bet every fight in the card. I can't do that. Brett Apley's a guy that I hold in high regards when it comes to obviously the daily fantasy side, but I think he breaks down fights very, very well. He's one of the better guys for doing that. There is other ones, but I've just not got the time to listen to everything nowadays, even watch everything. That's why when I had my break from October, when I was moving house and having my kid, that I kind of watched a little bit more and seen a little bit more, and I thought to myself, there's a lot of really good guys out there that are making good content. And MMA Lock of the Night, Manpreet's a really good guy. Worked himself up to where he's in a great position, and he's got some great shows as well. So, like I said, I give props to everybody that comes on here and makes videos week in, week out, because it's not an easy gig at all. It's trying to find you really have to have a love for the sport if you're going to do it week in and week out, because you don't make any money off YouTube. On the rare occasions you've got people that send money into your chat, that's huge. Like for people like me that I've had Moise Audio, or other people that have sent like $5-10, and other people that have like came onto my Twitter and sent me asked to send money to myself because I've helped them win some bets. That's always amazing. Like I see, you don't make big money on these, not unless you've got a lot of followers, a lot of subs, and you're doing daily content and high quality content. So getting any of that's amazing. So yeah, I'm happy. I'm really happy to see the amount of people that make like a lot of videos out here. And just because I remember back in the day, geez, there was not many people making these videos. And I mean, I'm just a normal guy who likes fights, that really didn't have anybody to talk fights closely with all the time. And then I come on here and I could speak to you guys, get your opinions. Like, my opinion's never right, your opinion's never right. And predicting fights, it's just hard. Like, there's some easy ones, but there's also some hard ones. And when you hit those hard ones, it kind of brings you back. It keeps you going, wanting to keep that. And like I say, if you're betting full time, like I've been betting full time for probably 10 years, but I've been tracking for maybe 5 or 6. And my track betting was so bad. If you look at my record and Bet MMA tips, I was in the shit. I was in the mire pretty badly. Maybe wasn't looking into fights as close as I was, and maybe taking like line values and stuff like that a little bit too seriously. And after I got that bad year out of the way, I thought, right, I'm going to start really bossing into this. And since then, I've just been profiting every year, upping how much I bet every year. So now I think I am betting per unit, it's £125 per unit. This year I'm up 22 units, I think it is. So I've got myself a decent profit for the year so far through the first quarter of the year. So I'm looking to just kind of keep that going through the year. But like I say, there's a lot of good guys on here, but you've always got to take your own thoughts on the fight. Don't listen to other people. Even though if they make good picks, whatever it may be, You have to go with your own gut feeling. Don't go with what I say. If I plant a seed in your head, it's like, oh, maybe I never thought it this way, and you go and have a look and you see something you like, and then it wins. It's brilliant. Like, that's awesome. But never take mine, never take anybody's opinion as gospel that it's going to win, whatever it may be, because it's not the case. It's really not. But I appreciate everybody that comes and checks out my stuff, sits around with me for 40 minutes while I'm talking fights, asking questions, people that donate. Like, you've no idea how much that really helps people like us, kind of keeps us going. And like I say, I'm just a fellow fight fan. If you ever see me, whether it be Glasgow, I've been stopped in Las Vegas, that people have watched my videos, it's the weirdest feeling. Like, it's fucking weird that people are stopping you and shouting you. It's like, da 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 da. But like, when you come away from speaking with those people, you're like, it's kind of weird, but it's like, it's incredible, like the support that some people will show you, and just kind of trying to block out all the the people that don't like it, because like I say, they're just out there just kind of probably bored, they've got nothing else to do, and they're just talking shit. So like I say, if you ever see me at a fight card, please come and speak, and we will sit down. I guarantee half an hour later we're still sat down and we're still talking about fights, because that's just the way I am. You see me at fights as well. Like, I remember, I think the last one was Liverpool. I think it was the Friday night before the fights, and I was literally in the lobby, and I was speaking to Dan Hardy, and I was actually watching fights on my phone in the lobby, just having a beer. And Dan comes up to me and he says, and I've knew Dan for years. I mean, I think he's one of the best guys for breaking down fights as well. He's like, and we're actually watching a fight together. I can't remember for the life of me who it was, but he was breaking down this fight on my phone and just telling you about the little bits, how this guy was going to win. And I think the guy did go and win the next week after that. I can't remember who it was for the life of me. But yeah, like I say, if you see me, come say hi. We will absolutely talk fights the whole entire night. So, sorry, let's get back to this. People were saying Valiev got robbed. I'll have, yeah, don't believe that. I mean, I was very close actually to betting Valiev on the Saturday morning when he was plus money here in the UK. Couldn't do it. Too big a fan of Jack Shore. And like, people who are obviously, they bet that line down so much that they seen the talent with Jack Shore, and just a great fight from Jack Shore. A little bit gutted that he didn't actually get a bonus, because I thought it was a great fight. If you're getting 12 and 12, then fight Brock Weaver and repeat. Exactly. Soldich, beast. Agreed. Nice couch. This is one of the ones I bought. It's a big L shape. It literally goes all the way out there, so I can literally get all the kids and can get the dog on there if needs to. And so yeah, must have been the resale prices that were sky high, probably. Yeah. Too many betting shows. When someone is going to audit them and conclude they are the bookie's best friend, it will be over. I mean, that shows you probably how far the kind of communities kind of came along. Like, maybe on YouTube, the MMA community you see on Twitter, everyone wants to do a show now. Like, and that's fine. I'm all for having more people and more opinions out there, and as long as people kind of are not just talking out the backside and actually looking into some fights. And you cannot look into every fight every week. I don't care who you are. Some people I've seen on here, like, oh, I've watched the whole fight career of this guy, and I've actually watched all the fights of all the fighters in this card week in, week out. That is, like, you are talking ass. For me, so what I do, I kind of watch 3 to 5 fights, depending who it is, and depending if the fights are good or not. And then I will literally scope out fights, if I can, of people that might have like a skill set that they're facing in an upcoming fight. There's no way, especially now. Back in the day, I used to watch a lot more fights than I do now, because I just have no time with kids and whatever else it may be. But these people that are sitting here on this camera and saying, I watched the entire career of someone and his opponent, you are talking out your hoop. You're talking out your backside. It does not happen, because there's just not enough time in the day for it. So this is why I kind of pick my spots with fights, and there is some ones that will jump out at me a little bit more. But there's when you look at a fight card at the end of the week and you see like, oh, I like this fight, you'll instantly go into watching and you'll watch numerous fights. But for me, I can remember quite a lot as well. And then you can go and check out stats and you can do all that as well. But yeah, Audit the Cappers 2022. Make your own conclusion, then test it against others. See if they have a vantage point that hasn't jumped out to you. You think it's good. Yeah, I mean, just for me, like I try and block out more of the noise now, because sometimes I'd go and watch guys and I'm like, oh, maybe he's got a point, and then I doubt myself in my pick, and I'm just really not for that anymore. And I just like to really nail down my picks, and my picks aren't great, but there is spots where I will see things, and it's just being around the sport for as long as you have, as I have, is watching fights, going to fights, watching a little bit of fighters live and training and so on, and them grappling and wrestling, whatever it may be. But like I say, I'm no pro at predicting fights, far from it. But what I can do is I can bet on fights, and I can make money off fights. And there's a lot of people that can't do that. There's a lot of people out there that just boost they'll do big parlays or big props. And fair play to you, because I am shocking at doing like props is something I'm actually really improving on the last 18 months. I'm seeing better spots, and there's spots that I like a lot more than others. But like for me, parlays, I'm a parlay first guy. Always have been. I don't know what it is. I think because when I was growing up, I used to parlay or make accumulators for like football. So I would always put stuff together, especially when you're not betting a vast amount of money. Now it's a little bit different. I'm betting substantial amount more than I did back in the day. So I will look instantly for parlays to start off, and then I'll go into looking at dog odds and so on. But yeah, I'm really proud that I can say year after year, except for last year, I was minus 7 units for the year. And again, this kind of happened when I had my first kid. I'm not blaming the kids for it, but obviously it takes your eye off the kind of ball, and like especially if you're throwing money on fights. Having kids, I don't think is a great thing. So if there's anybody here that's going to have a kid soon and is betting decent money on fights, don't do it. Just don't bet on them, because you will end up, because you're just not putting in as much effort as what you would do beforehand. So yeah, but I do really look forward to cards every week just to bet. Yeah, I love betting on fights. Will Martin, MMA for use OGs. What's up, George Ray Pro? Hope you're well. What's this? Well, remember these cappers were trashing Brian O'Driscoll and Abdul Hussein in order to fade Mokayev. It made no sense to me. I could not believe people were and there's people out there that genuinely think Muhammad Mokayev is a fraud. I actually think Muhammad Mokayev's best win in his career is Blaine O'Driscoll. You look at who he's lost to. Guys that are in the UFC or going to be in the UFC, they've gone on to be champions of other organizations. I think O'Driscoll could beat Cody Durden. I genuinely think that. That's why last week, people picking Durden just for the fact that, Muhammad Mokayev has not faced anybody. He's not had this is a step up. Well, he showed you that this guy's been. I mean, Muhammad Mokayev. I met this kid, the Machida Mark Munoz card way back. I think he was 14 or 15, and he was desperate to get a ticket. I think he got a ticket for it. But this guy said then he was going to be in the UFC, and this guy was 14 years old. 14, and he's 21, and he's in the UFC. And the amount of fights he's had through the amateurs, and people were saying, he's had too many amateur fights. Bullshit. You can never have too many fights. Doesn't matter if you got pads on or whatever it is. In the weeks that he didn't have fights, he was going to other countries and doing wrestling tournaments, jiu-jitsu tournaments. The kid is going to be good, and people are just love to kind of hate on people that are coming up quick. He's going to be a top 10 fighter, I think, by this year. Flyweight is it's not the greatest division. I think you can make it in the top 15 pretty easily. So yeah, but like I say, Abdul Hussein, like I say, he's not a bad fighter either. Actually, I think he will make his way to the UFC one day if he gets the right fights. But I mean, the Durden pick us last week, I didn't understand that. I watched 30 to 45 hours of film this week. Yeah. I do the final 3 fights of each fight at a maximum. Sometimes I do not tape at all if I don't find necessary. Yeah. Don't want to waste your time on fights that you don't really want to watch. So between the bookie odds and memory, MMA predictions are common sense outside of a few bouts. I agree. You can probably look into things a little bit too much. So, what's this bell end doing? Where are the subtitles? What's happening, big man? I've not heard from you from a wee while. I'll need to get in touch with you. Hope you're keeping well. Hope you're kind of staying alive out there in Manx land. But I'll catch up with you soon, big man. He's Askarov, he talks crap. Durden lasted 7 seconds longer than Hayden Sheriff, who is 0-27 across amateur and pro. That's quite funny. So yeah, Mr. Bellend to you, babes. Good to hear from you, mate. Like I say, everything that's going on, I've completely forgot to get in touch with you. I'll get in touch with you soon. We'll need to get to a card. Like I say, if they're going to Manchester or Manchester or Liverpool, or if they come back up here to Glaswegian land, we'll need to catch up again. But no, it's really actually nice. I'm kind of sat here. It's weird on a Saturday afternoon, like 4:30, 3.5 hours before the fights. No kids. They're away to. It's my niece's birthday, and I was planning on going, but I'm not actually on holiday for the next week, and I thought to myself, right, I'm going to take the dog out for a walk, which I did. It's like 15 degrees out here in Scotland, so I had the shorts on, had the suntan lotion on, probably burnt myself a little bit with that high amount of degrees that we've got out there. But then, like I say, I'm watching UE Warriors out here. I think we're on to the main event now. Tariq Suleiman's defending against Will Fleury. I believe so anyway. No, it's not. It's William Gomez. Oh, shit. Is he fighting here? There's a guy that fought in Cage Warriors. I think he beat Tobias Harrella last time out. So yeah. Do they start at 8 o'clock? They start at 8 o'clock. Yeah, they do. UFC London card was a good example of having to silence the noise. Heard arguments for Hooker, Durden, and various fades. That's true. Like I said, I wasn't heavy. I picked Arnold Allen to win. Didn't see that fight going the way it was supposed to, like with them guys just slinging heavy leather at one another. But happy for Arnold Allen. He's one of the nicest guys you could ever meet. One of the most down to earth guys you could ever meet. So yeah, the Hooker. I wasn't really on the kind of Hooker train there. Agreed, London could get fooked. Manchester, Liverpool, or Glasgow in absolutely. 8 o'clock fight pass. Yeah, I've been walking about all day. Too nice to be indoors. Exactly. I was actually out walking this morning about 9 o'clock. The kids woke me up super early. And then I actually went down to the shop and bought some like big ass cupcakes and like Mother's Day biscuits from this new place. Like I say, I've only been here for 6 months, but it's this shop. It's like seriously overpriced, but the stuff that they make is unreal. So I bought these big, large cookies. I think they're in the kitchen. They are humongous. So I've been kind of eating shit and just kind of having a chill day, a really kind of quiet day, and it's been nice. Especially, like I say, I love the kids running about and moving about and moaning and crying and feeding and changing nappies and stuff, but getting a little bit of time to yourself, there's nothing better than that. Especially when you have a couple of kids, you're like, it doesn't really happen too often. So yeah. So guys, if you've got any questions, any theories, anything you want to talk about, just let me know. I'll try and answer them. I'm literally here just chatting some mad pony, and just kind of biding my time before the fights are on later, literally while watching fights in the afternoon. So like I say, I think are we on to the main event? No, co-main event. I don't even know. I think the fight card on Tapology is actually the wrong way around because I'm seeing fights that I've already been through already that I've passed. So yeah, I'm a pack of biscuits deep. I might have to shut these blinds, guys, because the sun's actually. Can you see that sun? Look at that. I'm actually dying with that sun. I might actually have to put the blinds down a little bit. If you give me a little second. Shit. Oh, there we go. Right. I might call in the pub for a pint. Honestly, it's that nice. I've got beers in the fridge right now, but I've just kind of got my Pepsi to kind of keep me until later on. I've got some Jack Daniels there, so I might break out that later on tonight. But any cards looking ahead to mismatches? Well, I've started looking ahead to the UFC 2, whatever it is. Let me bring that up. UFC 273. Is that the card? Yeah, UFC 273. I've got one bet for that card already, and I've looked ahead to about 3 fights on it. The bet that I have for UFC 273 is a parlay. I've got Ian Gary and Khamzat Chimaev at, I think it's plus, or it's minus 125. I don't usually like betting like heavy chalk like that, like minus 400. But when I watch Chimaev, I'm just like, I think minus 400 is by fight week. I think that I'd be surprised if it's not a little bit higher than that. Ian Gary, to me, I think this is a very, very good matchup for him against Darian Weeks. He was minus 225, and I don't think he looked great in his UFC debut against Jordan. I forgot his name. I know his name's Jordan. So I put them together, and like when with my parlays, I usually like to try and get plus money always. That's something I always look at because it's just something I like to do. What's going on here? Ooh, William Gomez there. He's just like back off, and this guy's coming down. He's thrown down, and Arep Yakubov. And I just like that matchup. I really do. I thought that was. I like the parlay as soon as I put it together. Now I was thinking, do I put Peter Yan in there instead of Chimaev? Do I put maybe Volkanovski in there? But when I watched Hamza, I'm just like, nah. I think that Chimaev eventually. I think he can knock him out. I think that's what he's going to do. I think he's going to stand in the feet in this one, and I actually think he's going to knock out Gilbert Burns. We've seen that he can be hit with long shots from Usman with that long jab. I think he can grapple with him if he wants. So I've got that. I think that hits, honestly. I'd be surprised if it didn't. The one that I'm worried about is obviously Ian Gary. I'm not really worried about Khamzat Chimaev, but Ian Gary, what I do like about it is he's moved out to Florida full time. He is at Stanford MMA, I believe. This has been a full camp there. And I know that he's been like sparring some really good top guys in that gym. So I can only see leaps and bounds with that guy being there. So I think that should hit pretty comfortably. That's a parlay that I've seen very, very quickly. I thought I like that. So Gary's newlywed. That's a weird one, isn't it? Because she used to work for Cage Warriors. The next thing I knew that they kind of moved out. She's got tattoos of him on her, and probably vice versa. Then they're married very, very quickly. So it's all been very, very quick. But Layla's lovely. Like Ian Gary's like doing well for himself there because she's stunning. She's a stunning girl. So I'm actually going to look into this UFC 273 and just see what I actually quite like. So it's kind of heavy at the top with a lot of chalk at the top. You guys all know I'm a massive fan of Peter Yan. I've been championing this guy since he came into the UFC. I said he'd be a guy that would probably fight for the belt, if not win the belt. He's a guy before he came into the UFC I loved to watch. So the fact that he came in there and he's run amok through that division, and there was obviously the whole crap with the first fight where it kind of baffles me that some people think that Sterling was in that fight. He was maybe in it for 5 minutes. Outside of that, he was getting bludgeoned to death. And since then, Piotr Jan just went on and he's just destroyed top quality fighters since. And I'm seeing people confident in Sterling there. I don't think Sterling's got the tools for Peter Yan. I really don't. I would be surprised if Sterling comes out there and wins that one. I think Jan's going to get his full world championship back and really do the business there. I'm interested in the main event because I think everyone's a kind of a fan of the Korean Zombie. I think this is a tough matchup. I'd love to have seen that Holloway fight again because I've thought that Holloway's at least beaten Volkanovski on at least one occasion there. I think Mackenzie Dern against Tisha Torres is interested. Actually, I think I might edge Mackenzie Dern in that one there. I have a feeling that fight's going to make its way to the ground. But like I say, I've not watched any fights in it. The fights that I have watched, I've watched Kamaev, I've watched Ian Gary, and I've watched is it the Wiley Cat? Yeah, Julio Arce against Daniel Santos. The other 3 fights I've watched. I think the UFC finishes quite early tonight, probably 1 a.m., 2 a.m. So I might watch at least another fight there before I head to bed in the wee hours of the morning. So, but overall, I think it's a pretty solid card. There's some decent fights in the Fight Pass prelims. Madsen against Michelle's a good fight. I think I'm looking forward to seeing Mike Malott. Duplessis, I'm looking forward to seeing him again. And like Aldana and Ladd, I like Aldana. I think she's a really talented fighter. So we'll be looking out for that one. I think this one's an interesting one here. Kelvin Gastelum against Nasruddin Imavov. Like I say, Kelvin Gastelum's been around a long time now, and he's kind of shitting some apple pies, as Cody Saftik likes to say. I think he could be live in that fight. I really do. But like I say, I need to watch some fights and see, because I've not been super high in Imavov. I think he's been all right, but I still think that it's a jump up to what he's faced before. So, yeah, let me see. I want to see how many people try to make a case for Burns. Yeah, you can't. I mean, I think I've been a little bit slow with the Kamaev thing. I mean, I seen him before he went to the UFC, and I thought, you're really good. I just didn't expect him to be this good and like run through guys and make his way into that top 10 of that division as quick as he did. Gilbert Burns will always be a tough fight for anybody, but I think Kamaev runs through him. Jan has all the data downloaded. Round 2 finish. I like it. I like that Moise audio. Is that William Gomez just finished that dude? Yep. Oh, blood is coming from in between the eyes. I never even seen the finish there. Jan via murder. Look at his nose. He's not been in a bad fight in his life. He's a watcher. Never. I've been in a couple of fights. Look at my nose. What do you mean? Look at my nose, dude. I've broke my nose 3 times. Does my nose really look that good? It's like I say, I cannot breathe through my nose. I don't smell anything. I've literally broken my nose 3 times. I got punched 1 time, and it moved a little bit. Never got it fixed. Was in a car accident, and I was the only one wearing a seatbelt out of the 4 people, and I was the one that came out the worst because I put my forearm up and actually put my nose into my forearm, which actually fractured my cheekbone and broke my nose, fractured my nose. So I had to wear one of those freaking masks for, I want to say it was about 3 weeks. And then I did it once again, and I got it kind of realigned to where it's kind of, it's a little bit to the side there. So the fact that you said that I've got, look at his nose, he's not been in a bad fight in his life, he's a watcher. That's fine. But like I say, I've broken my nose 1 too many times and hurt myself 1 too many times. So yeah. Gastelum with a small punt of those odds, I agree. Imavov has improved every fight. Yeah, that's true. You can't deny that. Gastelum doesn't get finished often. He has the grappling advantage. You would think so. It's just steadily progressed. Yep, Gastelum's a 170er. Yeah. So yeah, I never even seen that finish again, guys. Actually, but now, like I said, Gomez was a guy that I kind of had my eye on before that Cage Warriors fight. I thought Harilla was going to beat him though. That's a big win for him there. So we're an hour in. Christ, that was a quick hour. So I'm kind of looking at. I've got all my Draftkings lineups up, but I need to make a couple of changes because they put the Shizarev fight in yesterday, and I haven't really got that much of him. So, because UE Warriors puts on good events as well, don't they? I like that. I like the way they've kind of got all that. Just looks a really reputable promotion. Replay brought to you by Abu Dhabi. So reversed them. Rose up and then started landing elbows. And ground and pound. Shit. Oh, that's a nasty finish. Nice win. So yeah, I've kind of had. Where's my Draftkings lineups for tonight? I've kind of got. I think I've only got 5 or 6 lineups. Lineups. So I'm playing a lot of Curtis Blades, as you can expect, because he is. Curtis Blades is kind of DraftKings royalty. When he wins and wins big, then you kind of know about it. So, like Volkov, 173, Abdurakhimov, 120, 105, 134, 121. So I'm probably playing him in like 5 of the 6 lineups that I've got right now. 1, 2, 3, 4 actually. 3 hours, 12 minutes till fight time. So we're closing in on the fights, getting there slowly but surely, guys. Yeah. Guys, do you get any bets for tonight? If you get any bets, Jack Attack, I know you'll have bets, mate. If anyone has bets, let them put them in there. Let me know what they are. Let me see what they are. I'm not sure if you actually sell your picks, Jack Attack. So if you don't want to put them in, that's absolutely fine, brother. But yeah, have you done well in DK before? I have. I've won this time. It was actually this time last year. Where's my phone? This time last year, I've won a few GPPs. I've won an NFL GPP, which I think was about $2,000. It was only off $1, so it was the mini one. So I've won numerous MMA ones. I think my biggest win was like $5,000. So not too bad. I think in my account right now, I'm going to tell you how much I've got in my account right now. So right now in my DraftKings account, I have $2,420.37. So I've probably got about £2,000 worth in my DraftKings balance, which I took some money out initially when I was sitting around about $5,500. I thought I'll take a little bit out. And then I've decided to just kind of keep the rest in there. And if I do need to take more out, I will. But I'm kind of lucky enough I don't have to kind of take that out. So, but I'm looking hopefully to kind of win some tickets to UFC 273. That's something that I'm hoping. What's going on with this? My camera's bugging up a little bit. That's something I'm looking to kind of win some tickets to that. To play DraftKings or not to play DraftKings? I'm always playing DraftKings. I like playing golf on DraftKings. That's something I'm trying to get better at. So, look at this guy. Jesus Christ. He's won bets. That's all. He's no scrapper. I don't claim to be a scrapper, you bell end. I really don't. Jesus Christ. But like I say, I probably know as much as you do. So if you're the big guy out here, like let me see your videos and see your analysis and what else. So Jesus, man, some of these guys that are on here that come on here and just spend their time just talking pony. I can guarantee I could win more bets than you can, pal. Absolutely. That's something I know I could do. Is win more bets than you could. Excuse me. There we are. I'm just actually looking ahead because I think we've got a break next week, haven't we? So then we've got UFC 273. I'm just looking at some of the fight cards coming up and some of the matchups that I kind of like. And I like the Luki against Bilal Muhammad rematch. I think that's something I'm looking forward to watching. Interested in Uriah Hall against Andre Muniz. Aleski dos Santos against Munar Lizez. That's a good fight as well. When's that? So that is 16th April. Whoa. Is that a main event for the UFC? Amanda Lemos against Jessica Andrade. Is that a main event? Ooh, that's a rough main event. Manel Kape against Suma Jarji. Good fight. Montana De La Rosa against Macy Barber. That's a decent fight. Rob Font against Chito Vera. That's a really good main event. Tatsura Tiara. That's a guy you should keep an eye out as well. In the flyweight division, he's a really solid fighter, is that Tiara. Johan Linnaeus, that's the guy that knocked out Justin Burlinson. Justin Burlinson actually fights next week at Cage Warriors in Manchester. I think he's the main event. That's a big win for Linnaeus, actually, I think, because I think Burlinson's a really solid fighter. Gerald Mearshart against Christoph Jotko. Justin Tafa against Jake Collier. UFC 274. Charles Oliveira against Justin Gaichi. I don't know where I'm going to go with that fight either. I think Oliveira. Yeah, I think I probably edge Oliveira. But with Gaichi, you never know what the hell's going to go down with that guy. Michael Chandler against Tony Ferguson. Cerrone against Lozon. That's going to be I think that's going to be a fun fight for however long that lasts. So Trinaldo against Danny Roberts, fun fight. Randy Brown against Kyrgios Williams, fun fight. Tracy Cortez against Melissa Gatto, that's not a bad fight either. Just stating facts, is he? Okay. Late 50s, must be from Kansas. Yeah. It makes no sense to me why guys come in here and just talk utter gash. Like, honestly, I'm not speaking shit on you, but you are going out of your day to come on here and just talk and say never been in a fight in his life. That's fine. I don't have to be in a fight. Like I say, there's enough of that going on in the world at the minute, and people are getting killed for no reason than that. So, yeah. But, yeah. See the catcher, Spirit Copper. Oh, Austin Arnett. He's fighting. Is that Austin Arnett? No, it can't be. Let me check this. Austin Arnett. Jesse Arnett. That's who it is. 18-8 record against 14-0 Russian. Gasan Gesenyov. Is that how you pronounce that? 14-0. Who's the guys he's been facing for a 14-0 record? 26 years old. 5-2-1, 6-0, 0-0, 7-2, 2-1, 1-0. So he's been one of these guys that kind of fights every month. March, April, June, August, September. So he's one of these guys that kind of fights every month, and it's just blown up his record a little bit. This will be his toughest fight, probably. Oh, big right hand. Right, guys, what's the fight you're looking forward to tonight the most? Because I think for the last 2 weeks we've had fights that should be further up the card than they initially should. So last week we had Jack Shore against Timur Valiev. That should have been on the main card, in my opinion, considering Jack Shore's, 4-0, 5-0 in the UFC. Tonight, the fight that I think should be further up is David Devorah against Matthias Nicolas. That's the fight I think I'm looking forward to the most on the entire card, for the simple reason I think it's very, very well matched. I think it's a good fight to put together. It's relevant in the division. And just a really well put together matchup. You've kind of got the overall game of Devorah, what's his name? Sorry, Nicolas. With the only thing that I just don't like is his chin, but I don't know whether Devorah's got the one-shot power, to me, in my opinion, to really knock out Nicolas. But he could drop him. He could land some clean ones and put him on his backside. But for me, I think that Nicolas I think he can get him on the feet to an extent. I don't think he's got the one-punch power to really hurt Devorah, but I think if he can mix it up with his striking a lot better than what Devorah can. I don't want to say that there. And then he's got the takedowns as well. And I think if he was to get get him down there on the ground, I think he could submit him. I think he could be heavy on top. Don't think he keeps him there for long parts of the fight. I know that Devorah's coming off that submission win against that Juan Camilo guy that was in the UFC, Ronderos, I think his name was like 4-0. That just wasn't a good look. So none. The fights on one championship drained all my energy. Were they good? I only seen some of the results. I seen that Demetrius Johnson won in that kind of mixed MMA bout or whatever it was. He won with a rear naked choke. I seen Angela Lee won. I seen that Nike Holskin got knocked out as well. Devorah, Nicolas should be on the main card. Agreed. That's the big fight, I think, for me on the card that should there. So right. So they're on their way home. Just got a message for the good wife there and says she's on her way home. So I'll be cutting this short in the next 15 minutes, guys. So look at these. Might put a couple more bets on. I need to go and have a little look and see if anything shows up. Right, guys, I'm actually going to go and get some dinner ready for the kids because the kids are on their way back. So I'm going to go and get some food on the go. So, guys, I appreciate you for kicking around for the last 75 minutes listening to me just mumble and bumble on about some fights here. Hope you enjoy the fights tonight. I am probably going to have my UFC 273 picks out towards the later end of next week. If you're new to the channel, throw a sub on there. If you like, throw a thumbs up. It would be even better, guys. But I appreciate you for kicking around. I appreciate the questions. I appreciate the chat. I appreciate people who say that I've never been in a fight in my life. But it is what it is. I appreciate you for coming in here and spending your Saturday afternoon just throwing verbals at me. All the very, very best. Enjoy the fight card when it comes around next tonight, and enjoy the wee break from MMA next week. Until then, all the very, very best. Take care and look after yourselves.